Part 2, Saramonic Audio Adapter Kit. In my last episode, I reviewed this Saramonic Audio Adapter Kit, and the thing I was interested in was the microphone. So the first thing I did was I compared the Saramonic microphone included in this $300 kit with the $700 Rode NT-G3. I think it held up. It's obvious this $300 mic, which is part of a kit, is not going to hold up to a $700 mic. That's just not going to happen. Does it work in comparison for price? I really think it does. You could really use this as a standalone mic. Next part of this, which is now part 2, is I've watched so many videos with bad sound. I've made 10, 20, 100 videos talking about you should not plug your mic into your camera and expect to get good sound out of it. And I've got a lot of questions about that, and I keep getting questions. So for once and for all, I'm going to prove to probably myself whether you can do this or not, and it's legitimate. I've tried all sorts of things on getting the mic into the camera. I've tried Juiced Link, I've tried little preamps, I've tried all sorts of stuff. They're a bit wieldy and they're a bit finicky. So when I got the Saramonic unit, this is the unit sitting up right here, I was kind of interested. They claim that you can get good sound in your camera. So I hooked it up. It's pretty easy. You stick a 9-volt battery in there. Here's the mic. You mount it. You put it into one of 2 DSLR jacks. You plug that into your camera input and you go. Now I'm doing this on a T3i. That's a 600D because it has some pretty crappy electronics into it. The philosophy here on recording into your camera is, well, my philosophy up to this point has been don't. But the philosophy so far in using these little audio adapters and Juice Link things is that you want to, as much as possible, bypass the internal electronics of the camera and have the unit up here do most of the processing. That doesn't always work because you still have to run it through the camera. Now, video camcorders and higher end cameras, all these electronics are built into the camera. That's why you can, grab a camera and hook your XLR jacks into it and get good sound. These are not. These were never intended to record good sound. They were intended, DSLRs were intended to take great pictures, and then we move along in time, and somebody got the bright idea that maybe we could do video, and we move along in time, and people found out that DSLR video can actually be really cool, a lot more affordable, and it looks really good. Anyway, so I've run this into this camera, into this T3i on the Saramonic. I'm going to try a bunch of different tests here and see if I can prove myself right or prove myself wrong, and see if I can get some legitimate sound running into the camera so we don't have to sync it up later. We just pull the card and we bring in the video and all is good. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to be your settings. Every camera is different, but this will give you and I, because I don't know what's going to happen here, you and I some idea on how we can tweak this thing and get good sound of it as advertised. So let's do some tests. Let me turn this thing on. Anyway, let's switch to this one. Right now, I've just turned on the Saramonic. I set it at the level of this mic at about 5. That's not going to matter because right now I'm running the T3i. I've set it on auto. I know, I shouldn't set anything on auto, but I've set it on auto, and what it's doing is I could set the Saramonic volume here to 10. I could set it to 5, and around 2 you lose it, but what the camera is doing is it's saying, I'm going to figure out the peaks and the valleys, and I'm going to do this and try and make sure you don't peak over 12 plus-ish on the meters. So it's doing all the processing, and I'm pretty sure that this thing is going to sound really bad. I don't know. I haven't listened to it, but we'll see. The next setting I want to go to is I'm going to try and tweak this thing. I'm going to take it off auto and I'm going to play with some different settings and see if we can actually get some good sound out of this thing. The idea on this is not to mount this on top of your camera and throw it across the room. The idea on this is if you have your camera here, possibly mounted in a rig with a Saramonic unit or maybe mounted on top, is that you can run your cable, your XLR cable from the microphone like this over and down and over to your camera over there and plug it into your camera, and then they're all mixed up. Again, I've said it a million times, I'll say it again, sticking a microphone on here other than for reference sound and plowing it 3, 5, 10, 20 feet, yards, etc. across from where you're filming is not going to work. I mean, obviously, if you're filming a football game and you have a mic on top and there are people cheering, sure, it'll pick it up. But you're not going to get someone talking on the field and it's not going to sound good. So let's switch this to some manual settings and I'll tell you what they are. So right now we're sitting here with this all the way up at 10, and this, the sound is all the way down. The recording level of the sound is on manual and all the way down. One little tweak to the right. So that means this is overcooking and this is undercooking. So let's try a few tricks here and see what we get. Now I'm recording the sound again on here. I've changed nothing in the camera. I've changed nothing in the Saramonic, but I set the gain on the Saramonic to plus 10 dB. So now it's going to add a little, and the meters are hitting it right about 12, which is usually where you want it. I mean, you could argue all sorts of things, but for these tests I like to have it around 12 so I can match everything up. I'm now going to set this to, let me check here. Hit the wrong switch. Same settings. This is now set to 20 dB added into it, and the levels over here should be a lot greater. So now we're recording into the camera at about 20 dB. I'm not sure again what's going to happen or if this is going to work, but hey, I'm willing to experience anything, and if this works and it goes into the camera, it sounds as good as this into my Zoom 8.6, I really don't think it's going to happen. But if it does, I'm sold. So let's try another test. Let me reset some settings. I'll just quickly go through and do different settings on this and record it and tell you what I've done on the screen. Maybe we can get this thing sounding good. So here we go. Okay, now I'm recording using the camera all the way down about a quarter up on the sound level in the camera. I have the Saramonic set to about 5, which is where I think it should be, and who knows, maybe that's good sound. I may come back and play with this, but it's been I've been recording. You probably won't see all this. I've been recording for about 20 minutes, and I want to see if something in there is near what I'm looking for as far as sound into the camera before I go off and do, you know, the number of levels on the camera time, the number of levels on the Saramonic times. This thing will be 3 hours long and all those different tests. So I'll go check that out, and if that doesn't work out and I don't find something close, or maybe I nailed it, I'll come back and even do more. So there you go. All right, so those were my tests of this thing. Again, I don't know right now if this is going to work or not. It'd be cool if it did. You wouldn't have to buy a $300 or $400 Zoom 8.6 plus a $700. That's $1,100 in recording gear right there. It'd be cool if you could just buy this little $300 thing and plug in the XLR jack and plug that right into your camera and tweak the settings and test the sound and get what you need exactly. That would be awesome, but we'll see. In the meantime, I need to tell you something else. Oh yes, I am about 1 or 2 editing videos away from completing the first course at Basic Filmmaker University. There's a reason why I keep saying this every time, and it's not because I'm interested in you being over there and paying for these courses. It's because I don't want 5,000 or 10,000 people who didn't listen to me when I told them to sign up, and they will get $100 off the course, to come back later and say, I'm sorry, I didn't take advantage of that. Can you do something for me special? And the answer is no. You just need to go over there and either enroll in the university or enroll in the free mini course. And then I have your email, and then you'll get an email, I won't spam you, that gives you the $100 off. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Anyway, this is my tests. You'll notice I'm rambling quite a bit. I don't have a teleprompter. Every once in a while, I like to throw these things up unscripted, just to keep my hand in it. How about that?